NJ.com and the Heldridge Hotel. Welcome to the Rutgers Rant, your one-stop podcast for the Scarlet Knights. With your host, Steve Politi, and Rutgers insider Brian Fonseca. Let's start shopping.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Rant, our Illinois Picks Pod Preview Edition. We've got a special guest. Brian, I can sum it up in one word. Boom. Scott Goodale.
Boom.
Boom. We're going to boom this podcast. We have someone from the athletic department, an official person, joining us on the podcast. You know who it's going to be? You know who's not afraid to come on this podcast? Goody. That's who's not afraid to come on this podcast. Damn straight. Excited
The
about
greatest
that.
interview in the Rutgers athletic department, bar none. So very excited to hear his take on everything. We're going to ask him very wide-ranging questions.
Yes, everything, because, of course, we need to, between the two of us, our knowledge of wrestling could fill into like a thimble. So we're going to have to ask about a lot of things to get there. But it's going to be fun. So we're looking forward to that. But before we do that, let's talk about the game that we're going to ask Scott Goodale to pick. Illinois, traveling to Champaign. Have you been to Champaign? You've made that trip?
I did. I went in the summer, and you made fun of me because I went there on vacation.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you vacationed to Champaign. Yes.
I'm the only person on earth who has ever vacationed in Champaign. And for what it's worth, I did pick up a travel tip because we drove down from Chicago, and I learned, speaking to the locals, aka my girlfriend's uncle, that you should fly into Indianapolis and then drive west instead of driving. So I will be using that and hopefully shaving an hour off of my. But the issue is when you go from Indianapolis, you gain an hour going to Illinois, but you lose an hour going to Indiana. So there's no right way to go to, because it's central time zone to Eastern time zone.
Gotcha.
There's no right way to do this, but I'm looking forward to going back.
I do remember it was a miserable drive down from Chicago. So good call by you. Maybe it was miserable because I had Ryan Dunleavy in the car. Could be why it was really miserable. We got there about 11:55 for a noon tip. I do remember that as well. Perfect timing, in other words. But all right, not exactly the most intimidating place to play. I wonder if the team being better out there has improved that. It wasn't a great atmosphere. It was a very unmemorable trip. If anybody else is making it, I'd be curious to hear your opinions about it. But Scarlet Knights go out there. This is a team that they've been even with over the years, 12.5-point underdogs this time. Funny reading like all the content about Illinois this week. It seems like they're in a parallel universe to Rutgers in a lot of ways.
Yes, they are a mirror of, in everything, even the way that they talk in press conferences. You have it in our notes here that Brett Bielema is talking about getting more involved in the defense this week. And it feels like Rutgers, one, in the way the season's playing out, in the sense that they have a good offense with a good quarterback and a horrific defense that cannot stop getting shredded through the air. And then as far as the season broke out, where this was a top 10 team preseason or top 15 team preseason, they had CFP aspirations, and now they've kind of lost the games to the teams of the upper echelon, a little bit better than them. And then now they've lost to Washington, which is a game that they probably had to have to make the CFP. Rutgers is obviously a tier below, where they didn't beat the teams that were slightly better than them to be able to have that 8-win season. And now they're essentially a week behind, where Rutgers played a cannot lose game against Purdue. Right? A game they had to win to have any minimal hope of meeting the bare minimum expectations for the season. And now Illinois plays a final 4-game stretch against Rutgers, Northwestern, Maryland, and who do I have here? Sorry. Rutgers, Maryland, Northwestern, and Wisconsin. 4 very winnable games. Not to say that this Rutgers game is a must win, but those last 4 games, you have to win at least 3 to feel decent about where your season is if you're Illinois. So again, this is the Purdue game that for Rutgers, that's the Purdue game for Illinois.
Yeah. And I wonder if Illinois is one of these teams. Every year you have one of these teams that's in the top 25 before the season, where you have expectations about what the team's going to do. People think they might make the playoff. And then despite a mountain of evidence to suggest otherwise, like it's hard to shake that expectation. Like everyone thought, oh, Illinois, they might be in the playoff. I mean, Nick Saban was saying it before the Washington game, like, oh, they still can make the playoff. And I think we saw that game. Certainly you saw them get smoked. They didn't lost to Indiana, they got destroyed by Indiana. Like, I don't know. They've only played 3 good teams. They've lost all 3 games, all by double digits, by 53 against the Hoosiers. Like, maybe they're just not that good. I mean, that's like a conclusion. They don't have a single good win. They beat Duke. It's their best win. I mean, you get to a point, you're like, all right, this might just be an average opponent.
They won at USC, to be fair. That's not a great win, but
It's
it's
a better win than Duke, I guess.
Yeah, you're playing on the road in Los Angeles. It's not easy, but yes, they don't have the kind of wins you need to have to be a CFP contender. I had seen this Washington game this past weekend seen as this elimination game for the CFP. I think that's a bit much because I don't think either team had enough opportunities to make it in. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think the issue is, and I fell into this obviously because I voted Illinois top 15 in my preseason poll, but you look at how a team does last season and you look at the record, they won 10 games. You see they have their quarterback coming back and some defensive stars. The staff is coming back and you think, oh, of course, there will be linear progress. They're going to take the next step forward. And as we've learned many, many times, sometimes teams don't take the next step forward. And I don't know if they're worse than last year as far as defensively, but they're slightly worse than last year. They could have been slightly better. The only reason we see this Illinois team as a disappointment right now is because of the massive expectations they had entering the season, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess they'll go 9-3, and that's that. I think by most Illinois standards, even Drew Brees good at Illinois. That's like it's going to be a good season. But I think the playoff, the idea that they could crash that party, that certainly was why I think people are disappointed. I don't know if they have the right to be disappointed or not. Although reading some of the stuff, I mean, this is just a paragraph I highlighted here. There were multiple times in the Washington game where an Illinois player gave up on a play when they're in the middle of the action. That is inexcusable. And I believe William will see. His name. We'll see it and make the adjustments this week. I have to get more involved than I will. I love that quote. Could be Greg Schiano, but it's not. It's everyone's favorite Illinois coach. Yeah. So, I mean, the defense looks like it's just bad. Combined for 0 tackles for loss and 0 sacks for the first 3 quarters. I mean, these are just familiar things. Giving up a lot of points every game. You think that that in your mind make this going to be a closer game than the odds makers expect?
I think this will finally be the week where I will say it's going to be a shootout, and by golly, it will actually be a shootout. I think so because these teams are mirror images of each other where they're going to put up points and they're going to give up so many points. Yeah. I think they're going to be so many, fans are going to go so many times from celebrating to putting their hands on their head every time the ball switches sides. So again, unless one of these teams, shapes up defensively in a week span, unless Brett Bielema is the greatest defensive adjuster of all time, I think it's going to be a lot like last year, which was a 38-31 game, went down to the wire. I don't think it'll be decided by an errant timeout this year. Hopefully not for both sides, but I do agree. And just to finish the point on similarities to the Rutgers program, after the Purdue game, I don't know if you caught it, their coach said he dropped the "we'll get there," and then they go to Illinois, and they have the Illinois coach talking about taking over the defense, him being a little more transparent than Greg. But the point being, it's like Rutgers this past 2 weeks is looking at a mirror because these two teams are doing the same exact thing, saying the same exact thing, playing the same exact way. It's crazy.
You can't drop, but we'll get there. That's basically like stealing the chop. Who stole the chop last year? Wasn't someone stealing the chop?
Yes, I can't remember exactly, but you're 100%.
They didn't get away with that. They got arrested. They're in prison now for trying to steal the chop. You can't steal. We'll get there.
It was Mel Tucker a couple years ago stole the chop.
Hey, look what happened to him. He stole the chop, and they fired him for that. Had nothing else to do with anything else that happened out there at all. All right. Luke Altmaier, familiar face. He's a very good college quarterback. I don't know if he's going to translate to the pros or not, but 2,000 yards, 71.2% completion percentage. That's elite numbers. And it's, they've got good weapons. I don't know. It's an interesting contrast to, Rutgers is kind of the same strength. We got to remember this. And you mentioned this is an opponent that Rutgers should have beaten last year. We know what happened. We don't have to really rehash it, but I wonder if that does give the players who were here last year some confidence, knowing, all right, look, we measured up with those guys. We can do it again.
Confidence and motivation to get a game back that I'm sure they felt like was stolen from them, right? Like that was a game they should have won. I 100% agree. So I think that's why the 12.5 point gap is a bit much, right? Because I don't think Illinois is better at all than last year. And I don't think Rutgers is, they're significantly worse defensively, but it's not 12.5 points worse when you consider how bad Illinois is defensively. So I certainly think that'll play into it. Now, the thing is, as much as Rutgers improved defensively against Purdue, some of that was because their quarterback was bad and missed open receivers a couple times. And a couple of their receivers dropped passes that would have gone for first downs on critical drives. That's not going to happen with Illinois because of exactly what you said. The guy's 70% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns, 3 picks. That's pretty freaking good. Of all the things that Illinois has not done well this year, their quarterback has been pretty good. So I don't think this is an offense that's going to beat itself. This is going to be an offense that Rutgers' defense is going to have to buckle up against and make some plays, which is another thing that these two teams, it's amazing. Like, Rutgers does not force turnovers. They do not get interceptions. Illinois, in 8 games, has 2 interceptions. They do not pick the ball off, right? Which is a good thing for A.T. Kalikmanis, who did not throw a pick against Purdue. It was the first time in Big Ten play he didn't throw a pick. There's another opportunity to go another game without a pick, which obviously, as we've heard ad nauseum, when Rutgers does not turn the ball over, they have a better chance.
The ball is the program, I've been told. All right. Is this would this be a signature win? Like, I wonder, like, as we rank, no, very simply no, right? Yeah, I agree with you. But we talk about this all the time, like, I got to go beat someone. Yeah. Sorry, it's not. You're right. It does not move the needle. It would be a very nice win, an enormous win for this team, for this program. I think it would get them to a bowl, or certainly, very close at the point where you could feel good about going to a bowl, where you could feel good about erasing some of the early season losses, where you could, you think that this team is going to achieve the base level for success that we talked about, the getting back to 6-6. All that's true, but you're right. It's just signature wins. Not going that way. Not going that far.
I don't know if any of the games they've played this year, aside of Oregon, obviously would have been a signature win. Kind of. I mean, Iowa would have been a really nice win, a la Washington last year. Washington on the road would have been a nice win. Illinois would be a nice win. I don't want to discount that. I think that would fall right in the same category as those other 3 games that they lost earlier in the year. But it's not a win you're gonna frame a photo of it and put it in the Hale Center and like remember it years down the line. But to your point, in the short term, it's a win that gives you some breathing room, because if you lose this game, you essentially have 2 must wins against Maryland and Penn State. Crazy to say that, but to make a bowl game, right? So if you win this game, I think your chances of going to a bowl game go up exponentially. Which again, it would make it a good win. But again, Illinois they're not ranked anymore, which I think really hurts. I think that's really unfortunate, because if Illinois stayed in the rankings, this would be a decent shot Rutgers would have of ending that streak. Now they're going to go into their 16th year. No, 17th year. Next year would be 17 years that they haven't beaten a ranked team.
Man,
it's going to become a 43-game losing streak when they lose to Ohio State. So that's a bummer. So once you take out the ranking, I think there was no chance of this being a win that's like a signature win, so to speak.
Illinois was ranked last year when they played, right?
They were, yes.
It should have ended there. Yeah.
Correct.
And I just remember that day because I became best friends with the Citrus Bowl scout. Like, we were BFFs. We hit it off right away. I mean, we were going to do things. We were going to see play. He was going to take me out in Orlando. I mean, we were chumming it up, and then it was over. I never saw him again. We broke up right there.
And I wonder if you'll ever see him again.
I don't know if I will. I don't know. Not this year. All right.
Life is about opportunity, Steve. And opportunity was there, and for no fault of your own, it was not taken. It happens. We all have those moments.
Could have tried harder. All right. Interesting. We don't know who's playing. Obviously, they don't tell us about the injuries. I think it was an interesting discussion that you asked, or came up in the context. And I think you asked him the question, right, about Greg, about why do players keep getting injured? It is a question we have been asked in the Discord. I mean, more times than I can count. It's probably like the 3rd or 4th most popular question we get. And it's one we just don't have an answer to. But Greg Shanley tried to answer it, and I thought it was interesting. What did he tell you? So
he said he could take a couple stabs at it. He's going to leave it to the sports science staff. He did talk about the impact of all this, in that they're down 22 players, which is, if you're down to 105 roster limits, that's almost a fifth of your team. And it's impacted their they usually do a developmental period after practice that they hope those cumulative reps over the course of a season will help the guys who don't play, get a season's worth of practice work. Right. So that's helpful. But he didn't give us, they've had to cut down the developmental periods, is my point, because they can't risk injury. If a guy gets hurt in developmental period, they're screwed essentially. And they're already down, they're going to, assuming Taj White is out, which I imagine he will be, given what we saw at Purdue, you're down to your 4th string tackle at left tackle. They're down a ton of wide receivers. The wide receiver numbers are kind of staggering.
So who else is out? Who else is out beyond than the wide receiver room? Go through that for people.
Fama was out.
From the
Michael
beginning.
Thomas III,
That's from the
true freshman,
Norfolk
is
State
out.
game, right? Yep.
Dane Partridge and Dino Calcamenis aren't out for the year, but they've missed the last 3 games.
Yeah, I forgot about Dino. Yep.
Jordan Houston has missed 3 games, another freshman that could make an impact. Vernon Allen has missed 3 games. Ian Strong has missed 2 games, right? So, again, you don't lose your top 4 guys. Like the aside from Ian Strong, the other guys have been rather healthy, but it's about the depth, and that impacts them a lot in special teams because a lot of those guys that don't play on the offense are regulars on the. I mean, I wrote about Dino Calcamenis' impact on special teams, and now he's missed 3 straight games, and you see that when Purdue gets a kickoff return and almost goes the whole field at a critical point in the 4th quarter. So those are the ways that, obviously you can tell when the defensive line, offensive line are missing guys. The special teams is something that you don't think about that makes an impact. Greg did not give us an exact answer. He did say they made changes and they're hoping that bears fruit. Obviously, he's referring to firing Jay Butler, who's with him the entire time he was at Rutgers, and promoting Spencer Brown to the head of the strength and conditioning program.
Right.
What the argument they've made is that those obviously they've changed him in the summer and the injuries continued from last year. They're still dealing with injuries for a second straight year. They think it's going to take more time than 4 months, which I can totally understand. It's strength and conditioning. This is a long-term process. So they're hopeful that the change in philosophy, the way Spencer views it versus the way it used to be done for a long time, that will bear fruits in the years coming. But it's strange because when you look back at 2023, they had Jay Butler and they had almost no injuries. They essentially went the whole year without any major injuries. So I think some of this, which is an answer no one wants to hear, it's very unsatisfactory. Some of this is dumb luck in football.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right? Like Taj White is blocking a guy and all of a sudden 2 players roll up behind him and hit him, right? Or Dante Chin gets rolled up on sometimes like 3 times in the span of 6 plays. And Sam Brown last year or CJ Campbell this year, just an awkward non-contact, goes the wrong way and his knee gets hurt. Like, some of the stuff is just bad luck. And for Rutgers, it's been 2 straight years of. Now, sorry to keep going on this point, but last year, some of the defensive issues, guys still played, but they were hurt. Those obviously are non-contact season-ending injuries. So maybe that's where the strength and conditioning can make a difference. But when it comes to ACLs and foots and legs and all this stuff, there's no amount of lifting and sprinting and eating that you could do to prevent that.
I mean, it's just like watching the Giants. I thought Cam Scadaboo was going to get hurt eventually, just the way he played, barreling into the line. He can't get hurt, but he's going out for a pass, lands on his leg, and it was just a gruesome, grisly injury. Malik Neighbors going for a pass, non-contact, landed out, done. The moment it happened, you're like, oh, that's it. This stuff happens. It sucks. I don't know what the answer is. It's football. And in some ways, it's. They've been fortunate that it hasn't been. I mean, Ian Strong obviously missing a couple games. They haven't lost their quarterback. That's been positive the last couple of years. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and when it hits for Rutgers, it hits at the same position. Wide receiver, you mentioned, left tackle, last year tight end. That's the kind of stuff. I mean, that's not. I don't think there's any training or any health and science thing that caused all your tight ends to get hurt. I just don't. Like, I don't know what the answer is. I don't think Greg knows what the answer is. And he obviously, I think sometimes, and I do believe this, like, I think sometimes you make a change just to make a change. Like, they might have just a new philosophy. They like the young strength coach. Jay Butler was with him forever. All right, let's try something new. And I give him credit for doing it because I don't know, like, if it's going to work, but I think we've seen in the opposite in some other programs where you just keep on doing the same thing regardless of the results. And I give him credit for doing it. And I think you're right. It's going to take a year to know if there really are going to be results based on what happens in strength and conditioning. But
at least a year, right? And again, some of the stuff just won't be strength and conditioning. Some of the stuff will be better luck. You'd think they'd regress to the mean as far as injury luck, but you can never guess with this stuff. I agree with giving Greg credit. It probably was not easy to let Jay Butler go. And I think some of this is just going to be hoping that the luck is better. And I apologize to fans who want a better answer. They want someone to blame. They want something. And I get it. I do empathize with that because it must be incredibly frustrating watching a team that every week you lose a guy and you're wondering what the hell is going to happen. But sometimes this stuff just happens, right?
Just blame us. We'll allow it. It's fine.
They do that anyway.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Let's stop there. I want to save as much time as possible for Goody. We take a break. We'll come back with the Rutgers wrestling coach in a few minutes. All right, we are back. Scott Goodale, Goody, boom, on our show, on our podcast. Man, I cannot thank you enough for joining us.
Well, it's good to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on. This will be fun.
You're the first Rutgers coach to ever join the Rutgers Rant. That's an honor. I think that you should put somewhere on your wall in your office and let everyone know that you're a pioneer. And we have a lot to ask you about because you're a very interesting guy. You've done a lot of things. Before we get into wrestling, before we get into football and Rutgers, I have something I've been dying to ask you about. What the hell is going on with Route 18? When the hell are they going to fix it? Because I see you tweeting and I feel like a kindred spirit that place is a mess.
I got to tell you, I tweeted it once thinking it was just me being frustrated. I'm that guy that why the heck would anybody turn to social media to complain? And here I am. I'm complaining about the traffic on Route 18. And now everybody wants an update. And I do it every couple of weeks. It's the worst. I can't believe that people live in East Brunswick and Old Bridge and don't complain about what goes on in that road. They finish one section, they run it right back and start another one. It never ends. And why do I keep – everyone's like, well, why do you keep taking that road? Well, I've been here 18 years, and if I pay $750 every single day to drive up the parkway over the bridge, $750 times, 18 years, you can imagine what that costs me. Nobody's going to pay for that. So I take Route 18 to avoid all the tolls, and it also allows me to stop and get coffee, so that's why I do it. But when I have to really get here, I won't take Route 18.
$750 times 18 years. That could have paid for like a good 150 pounder for the team at this point, right? If you had done that math.
Yeah, if I knew what I know now, I could have saved all that and got an NIL guy.
I credit you because you have been on this for years. I looked at your Twitter before we did this interview to do my research. You were tweeting about the engineer of Route 18 in 2011. 2011.
Really?
Yes. This place has been a mess before I even got to Rutgers. It's been a mess since I've gone. And it's going to be a mess till we all leave. I think we can all agree on that.
I think I made that tweet. I think I said that guy must have been from Lehigh, a Lehigh engineer. Now they've changed their name to Mountain Hawks, but that was more of a dig at Lehigh than anything else.
It's beautiful. 18, you said it's funny. You dropped it in there. I'm just like, 18 years.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think about that? And you're like, wow, where did the time go? Or how do you, that's a long time to be a coach anywhere.
Yeah. Going into my 19th season, actually. So I do. We talked about it the other day. I've been through a lot here. I've been through a lot of athletic directors, a lot of administration, a lot of strength coaches, academic advisors, nutritionists, you name it. I've been through it, seen it all. It just seemed like the other day, coaching high school football, winning a state championship in Shai Stadium. I wasn't Shai Stadium back then, but it was still pretty cool for a high school team to come up here and play in state championships. So I think about that a lot, talk to a lot of my Jackson friends. Can't believe I still feel young, so that's good. But yeah, I can't believe it's going into my 19th season. It's crazy.
I'm glad you brought that up because I know you were a football coach in high school, and I know every coach has their offensive coaches, defensive coaches. I know you were an OC. What was your specialty? What was the position you specialized in? And what was your favorite play? What do you call in? It's the fourth quarter. You need a first down. What do you call it?
Oh, that's great because I remember all that. But I started as a running backs coach, and then I became the offense coordinator. So obviously I took over the quarterbacks. I played quarterback, so I kind of knew the position. But I was the quarterback coach and offense coordinator. When I would always bootleg, I would always start the game with some type of bootleg to the point where our coaches would make fun of me. Everybody knows a bootleg's coming, but I would disguise it differently every single game. So it became first plays had to be some type of boot or what we would call like 58, 59 waggle, which is kind of a boot. And it just became, it didn't matter. We were so darn good. It was very hard to stop. So that's how I would always start the game. But we were a power I team, ran the football power counter. And then my last 4 or 5 years got to the point where we were packaging everything. So we had some really good quarterbacks that were able to kind of call things at the line of scrimmage, and we gave them the ability to do that. So that was really fun.
Did that background help you sort of become kindred spirits with Greg Schiano?
Well, I kind of knew right away I missed football. So that's the one thing I wanted to do was get up there and watch practice. Coach would always allow me to do that. So I became close with them to start. Got to the point where I was bringing some big-time recruits to practice because I just thought that's what we need to do to show them this. And then I ended up coming to Rutgers. We got the number 3 recruiting class in the country that first year, and I think Coach talked to all of them. So that was a huge part. We became really, really tight, super close over the years. Then obviously he left, came back, and continued our relationship. We stayed in touch when he was in Tampa. when he was down or out in Ohio State. We stayed in touch. One of my first phone calls when we won those national championships. So have a really, really good friendship with him. It kind of, I don't want to say it stopped, but it wasn't the same when my son got there. And I just think that was more of my son not wanting me around. And him and I never talked about my son. And I appreciated that because I'm a coach. I don't want to talk about your son. So all the dads out there, that's a good thing. And we just never, Zach was fired up to be part of the program, and I was glad he was part of it. And Coach and I just kept the relationship. We just never really visited as much during Zach's time. And now that Zach's over, we'll probably get back together.
The Goodale Shiano relationship is great because I forgot about this completely, but Crash wrote the story earlier. He let you use the chopper. That's a very small group of people that are allowed to use Greg's chopper.
And everybody was afraid to ask him. I said, we have this great heavyweight, Billy Smith from High Point. I don't want to drive up to High Point at 4:00 in the afternoon. I'm going to ask to use Greg's chopper. Pat Day, the dad, Mr. Day ran the helicopter business. He's a Toms River guy. So he's like, listen, if Greg lets you use it, use it. So I went to administration. They were like, no way. I'm not asking Coach if you could use. I said, I'll ask him. I asked him. He was like, absolutely, take it. And long story short, Billy Smith went over 100 matches for us, 4-time national qualifier, won some huge matches for us. And we landed a chopper on the football field up in High Point one day. And it was awesome.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm wondering now you're almost in 2 decades. I'm going to put you on the spot. Like what is the biggest thing that's changed over that time for Rutgers athletics in your mind?
Man, that's a loaded question. So much has changed. I mean, from a wrestling standpoint, everything we're giving now, from our facility to nutrition to the resources, you can imagine. I don't know if you guys have been in college, you have recently, but that's where we thought it was the Taj Mahal. We thought it was the greatest thing ever, but now we're in this brand new APC, state-of-the-art wrestling facility. So clearly that's changed. Leadership has changed hands quite a bit. We've had a ton of athletic directors come through. I get the sense from this administration, this is about winning and winning only, and we are going to win on all fronts. So that has me super, super excited. But man, so many things have changed. I mean, our just fanfare, people involved, the hatred, the love, the ups and the downs. If you're winning, you're the best. If you're losing, you're fired. There was none of that when I first started. I mean, heck, wrestling kind of flew under the radar for a long time. But football, everybody needs football to win. Everybody needs basketball to win. I've watched that. I've watched incredible seasons where these guys are, going to move on to the professional ranks or move on to a bigger college job. To the next week, they're getting fired. So just the fanfare, the social media's helped all that. The desire to win here hasn't, like, you could tell the fans want this to be great. And when it's great, that's awesome. When it's not, we need to get somebody else. So that's good. There's expectation. I'm not just talking about football or basketball. It's the same way in wrestling, man. I feel that there's expectation from the people in this state. And if you're not winning, because they see everything we've been given, they see the resources, they see the scholarships, they see all the money being put into the program. Well, now it's time to start winning. And when you have success, these fans want more. And sometimes it's unrealistic, but sometimes it's valid. It's valid. And I'm with them. We built this to be a monster, and there should be expectations. And I kind of live for that, to be honest with you.
And I think going off that, you're a bit unique of a coach, not just at Rutgers, but in the country. And you acknowledge that. You don't shy away from the fact that you guys have not met those expectations, fair or not. I'm wondering, like, when you talk to your team, when you recruit guys, are you telling them, like, we have higher expectations, we want to raise the level, and you're the next guy to do it? Or just how do you address that aspect with internally?
It's a huge part of our recruiting pitch. It's a huge part. Listen, for us to win in the Big Ten, to beat the best teams, and then listen, if you're winning in the Big Ten, you're winning nationally. And to do it consistently, you need the best guys in the country, and that's rubbed some people the wrong way. We've made a shift the last 3 or 4 years and gotten out of just New Jersey, which is a great, great wrestling state. But there's others. There's Pennsylvania, there's Ohio, there's California, there's Iowa, there's Nebraska. They have great wrestling states as well. And for us to win nationally, we need to recruit nationally. As far as talking to it with our guys, there's an elephant in the room. Yeah, we need more national champs. We need more All-Americans. We want to be a top 10 team. We want to win a trophy. So although we don't talk about it every day, those are the expectations. It's brought up. It's brought up. And if you don't do it, it's an unsuccessful year. You failed. And that's kind of the way we go about it. But it's not something we bury them with every single day, because that could wear on you. We keep hearing about All-Americans. We keep hearing about national champs. Sometimes you got to hear about the process and what it takes. And that's a little bit of coach talk. At the end of the day, get your hand raised. Figure out a way to win and win at the highest stage. And if not, bring somebody else in here who could do that.
We talk so much, Coach, about NIL and what it means in football and basketball. Can you give us a sense what it is? Is it the name of the game at the high level college wrestling as well at this point?
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. And we're seeing it more and more on the recruiting front. It's crazy. The bidding wars we're in as we speak. It's uncharted territory for me. I don't get it. And wrestling's a little bit different. I mean, we're not talking the same money as you are, obviously, in football and basketball, but we are talking a substantial amount of money for the high-end guys. So that's been hard. I do think we're going to be put in a position to compete for these recruits in the future here, and I look forward to those days, of course. But yeah, it's alive and well. It is real, and the top teams are above everybody, and they're the reason why they are the top teams. And that's kind of where we're trying to get to and chase. And again, I do think, without going into much detail about it, that we're going to be positioned to be attractive to some of these recruits, if that makes sense.
Obviously, Kelly and the administration will have to play their part in that. What have your impressions been of her and the people she's brought in so far, and just kind of her vision for?
Awesome. Love it. I just love the fire to an incredible desire to win from a wrestling standpoint. And I'm sure she's having meetings with every single coach. Obviously, that's her job and her team's job. But our meetings are about, we're at this level of success. We have an opportunity to be better. She sees that. We should be better. We need to be better. We're going to give you resources to be better. So that's been great. And then with that, again, comes expectations. And for me, that's feet to the fire. She's giving you all this. Let's compete at the highest level. We're close already. And now I just think she's given us an opportunity. Certainly the future will show that.
Tell us about this team. I mean, what can fans expect when they go to the RAC this year?
Yeah, it's a good team. And I've had these conversations with donors, fans, alum. What do you want? Do you want to go out and get a couple of really good guys to win national titles? Or do you want to get a team where every guy can compete at a really high level, 10 guys across the board? And I'm not saying I listen to all of what the fans and donors want, but it's important to me, and it's 50-50. So they don't even have the right answer, right? They don't
both. I'm sure most are both, right? Yeah, I want everything.
We want both, and I do too. So, but I will say this: we put together a squad this year by using the transfer portal, by developing our guys, where we're going to have 10 really, really good guys at every single weight, and that's exciting. And there's depth. So starters who have started last year may not be the guy this year, based on our incoming recruiting classes, based on the depth we have. It's really good. So that's kind of neat. I just think we'll put out 10 guys every single night that can compete at a really, really high level. Do we have the Nick Suriano and Anthony Ashnault? Do we have a national champ in our lineup? I think we have guys that can win that tournament. A lot would have to happen. I think we have guys capable, but right now I wouldn't pencil in a national champ. But I didn't pencil in Anthony or Nick either. So that tournament can humble you. That national tournament is incredible. It's the highest level of our sport. So you could go there as an undefeated wrestler and not place, or you can go there with 9 losses like Anthony Perotti, 500 wrestler, and be a 2-time All-American. So it's all about the 3 days in March. I understand that. But I think we're going to put out 10 guys at every single weight that can compete at this level. And by the end of the year, would anticipate all 10 of them being highly ranked. So that's what rankings mean. It means you're doing something right. It means you're winning and you're pretty good. So for me, they mean a little bit. So that's, I guess, what you can expect.
So you've had guys in the past, the Hammers, the Ashnaults, and the Surianos. You had guys like Soldano last year that you never know what the hell is going to happen when that guy took the mat. I guess my question is there a guy on this team that, like, no matter whether they win the match or not, it's going to be worth the price of admission just to watch this guy wrestle and do something out there?
Lenny Pinto, transfer from Nebraska, portal guy, teammates with Mikey Labriolo as our assistant coach. Lenny Pinto is one of the most exciting guys in wrestling. And him and Soldano wrestled in the Big Ten championships 2 years ago. He's super exciting. You talk about someone who just lets it rip. He lets it rip. He's going to wrestle in the All-Star match here. this weekend, which is a huge honor, him and Dylan Shaver. But this guy can win on any given night. And I wouldn't say he could lose on any given night. He's so darn good. I mean, he's been in the top 10 for 4 years, but he's never placed at that tournament, never placed at the national championships. He's a round of 12 guy. So one match away 2 years in a row. So I'm excited. I'm excited to watch him compete, sit in that corner to watch him compete. But that's fireworks. Shane Cartagena-Walsh wrestles really, really hard. Joey Oliveri. We have a lot of guys that wrestle really, really hard. But Lenny Pinto is exciting to watch. He'll be a fan favorite.
You mentioned the All-Star Classic. It sounds like that's quite going to be quite an event if you're a wrestling fan. What can you tell us about that? And what are you most excited about with that?
Truthfully, the thing that hits me right square in the face is it's $40 to park. Pisses me off. I'm going to get a lot of shit for that. Excuse my French, but I'm going to get, and I don't do the parking. I put that out there right now. I'm not in charge of the parking, but it's a great ticket. It's something I went to as a kid. It's something I always wanted to host at Rutgers. So it's the best in the country on opening night of college wrestling. It's and we're in a great wrestling state. I can't imagine people not showing out for this. So I'm excited for it. And our guys have a chance to compete. We've had it twice before. Anthony and Richie Lewis both won in 2017. So that was awesome for the program. So this is another opportunity to put Rutgers wrestling in a national spotlight. So it's pretty cool. Best guys in the country will be here. So a lot of fun.
Imagine how angry they're going to be after they get off Route 18 traffic. Oh, and then they're paid $40 to.
And you know who's getting blamed, right? You know who's getting blamed. Yeah.
It's not the Lehigh engineers. It's you. Yeah, right.
It'll be Goodale. Yep.
I have two quick ones. I don't know if Politi has any more, but you mentioned the dungeon at the bottom of College Ave Gym. Yeah. Do you ever miss it? Do you ever think that was kind of an advantage, and you ever miss just going down there and wrestling in, that kind of grungy, grimy atmosphere?
No, I don't miss it. You have no idea. The cockroaches, the cold water, breaking into the back door at night. That's what I would get in trouble for. I'll never forget Tim Pernetti calling me at midnight. Your guys are breaking in. I finally had enough. I said, yeah, Tim, they want to train. This is what they want to do. They came here to wrestle. I'm sorry. Yeah, they're breaking in. They want to train. So that was our big argument. I didn't have many with any athletic directors, and Tim and I are great friends to this day. But that was our one big one where our guys would break in. But no, I don't. This facility's awesome. Did I worry it was going to make us a little soft? Sure. You should see the way we eat. That's our nutrition plan after a practice. These guys they're spoon-fed a little bit. I do worry about that, but it's what goes on between those walls is what really, really matters. And I wouldn't go back there. It's funny, though. Every recruit that comes on campus, we bring them to College Ave and say, this is where we were and this is where we are now. So we go down there and check it out, but we don't ever put on the boots and train in there for sure.
Nice. I imagine no one's using that anymore, are they?
The judo, there's judo in there. Jiu-jitsu's in there. The club teams use it. So it's being used. Yeah.
There you go. A little Big Ten judo. That'd be good. Can we get that on the schedule? I love it.
I'd be down with Big Ten UFC, but we're probably a little far away from some MMA in the Big Ten. My other one, and I'm putting you on the spot here. Do you have a Anthony Ashnault or Nick Suriano? Actually, better. Do you have a Nick Suriano story for us? I have to imagine there are a billion of them. He's the most interesting guy most of us have ever met.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories. I don't know if I should share those on this, but I have a million stories for Nick. He was a character, as you know, but I think it's a little misled. He was one of the hardest workers we've ever had. He just wanted a plan every single day. And our guys would never say, well, Nick gets to do this. They didn't care what Nick got to do because he trained so darn hard. And Donnie did a really good job, Pritzloff, of managing that for the 4 years he was here. But Nick wanted, before NIL was a thing, he wanted NIL. And he would say, I want what he's getting. Now, Ashnault started coaching with us. Nick didn't care. Whatever he's getting, I want. And that was a big deal. And I said, Nick, that's cheating. I don't care. Whatever he gets, I get. And then, of course, COVID hit. So we never got to see him. He was taking Olympic year. Then the COVID year, he didn't want to wrestle just based on he thought the season would get canceled. So we never got into – he then went on to Michigan, of course. We never got into negotiations. Michigan paid him pretty well, and I never got a chance to – I can only imagine what that number would have been. But he wanted what Anthony was getting, but Anthony was now a coach of the team. You can't he didn't care. He wanted it. But awesome competitor. definitely a little bit, I wouldn't say out there, just locked in on what he wanted to do. He didn't care about anything but his vision of what he was going to do. And he didn't take from the team. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was selfish. It's just the way he worked, and nobody worked harder. He had this thing. He had to be the last guy in our wrestling room. That was his thing. He wouldn't leave until everybody else left. And there were times I would try to stay in there, just college Ave, stay in there long and longer and longer and longer. And we practiced in the afternoon those days. So now I'm hitting Route 18 traffic on the way home because I got to wait for this, and I could never beat him. I could never do it. So that was Suriano, and he was great to coach. What a competitor, all-time great.
That's fascinating. And ahead of his time in NIL. Not the only one. You should have gone to the SEC. You could have been making
he would have got money right away. I know.
Exactly. All right. Speaking of making money, I don't know what's allowed. Like, it's amazing to me that college athletes will be allowed to bet on some sports based on what the NCAA came up with, which I don't know how you feel about that. Seems crazy to me, that opening that door. But we picked the games here. I don't know if you're allowed to pick against the spread. If you can, it's Illinois minus 12.5. It's what we're going with.
Can I pick? You're taking Illinois?
Well, that's the line. That's
Illinois the line you're giving me.
That
Okay,
yeah. Correct.
Well, if I had the spread, it would be automatic. If I was able to gamble, and if I was a gambler, I would take the points for sure. Mm-hmm. And even if I could bet the money line straight up, Coach always finds a way to win one of these games. And here's another thing that I think is, I actually think we play better on the road. I don't know what the numbers are. I could tell you, I don't mind going. I love wrestling, Jersey Mike's Arena, but man, it's pretty cool to be on the road. There's no distraction. There's no tickets. There's no this. There's no that. And I just think every now and every year, it seems like, and it might not be every year, but I think every now and then he'll pick somebody off on the road. I know Purdue, we should have won that game, and he did. So good for him. But this is one where a big-time underdog, 12.5. He'll find a way to win this game. Every time we're back to the wall, bowl eligible on the line, because let's be honest, this is one we need. Mm-hmm. He seems to find a way to win. I think he does that. I think we win outright at Illinois. 12 o'clock start, 11 o'clock out there, right?
Yep.
You could tell I played with this gambling a little bit when I was younger, right? I could.
You have the wind patterns all mapped out? The weather? I got
it all mapped out. It's no time zone. There is a time zone difference, but it's only 1 hour. It doesn't affect us. So I think we win outright on the road. Road dog.
There you go. All right. Big W. What you score?
Give a score?
It's not going to be low scoring, right?
What's the over-under? It's like 62 or something crazy?
Yeah, I'll say 31-28.
Okay. There you go. That sounds it'd be a fun game. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're ahead of me, Politi, so you go next.
All right. I'm not as optimistic, Coach. I know. Don't be mad at me. And I'm trying to catch Lanny. So Lanny, the one guy who knows wrestling, he's ahead of us in the picks, and he's taking Rutgers. So I got to catch him. Another reason why I think Illinois is going to win the game by a couple of touchdowns. I hate to say it. That's
fun. Do you go points with this contest? Do you guys go points?
We do go points, yeah. So okay. I'm going to lay the 12.5. I'm going to say like 37-24 victory for Illinois.
We do track against the spread and straight up. I am much better straight up. I'm something like 6-3 straight up, and I'm 2-7 against the spread.
So he's useless, is what he's saying. This is what he's essentially saying.
2-7 is terrible.
2-7 is not good.
It's almost as impressive, actually, as 7-2 because the consistency is hard to match.
Yes,
7 games wrong is pretty. It's like getting a 0% on a test. You almost have to try to be that bad. Yeah. I will go in the middle between you guys. I think Illinois wins. I think Rutgers makes it competitive. I think there's going to be 1,000,000 points because these teams are the exact same thing where they put up 1,000 points and they give up 1,000 points. Mm-hmm. And I think it'll be Goody. I don't know if you listen to the show. Every week I predict a shootout, and every week we don't quite get there. This week is going to be the week. It's going to be like a 45-38 Illinois. I think it's going to be exciting. I think I'm going to be shaking in the press box from running on deadline, and I think Illinois pulls it out.
One thing I am picking for
sure.
I
hope we're both wrong.
One thing I am picking for sure. There's going to be an upset. There's going to be an upset at Jersey Mike's this year with the wrestling team. I'm picking that. I don't know which game. I don't know which match. Call it a game. That's shut up.
Well, actually, I'm looking at our schedule.
Right.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 on there that we will be underdogs for sure.
Yeah.
So I hope you're right.
In the Big Ten, I'm sure usually is that's just the way you guys roll, right? I mean, the never easy ones. There you go. I'm calling it here. Big upset at the rack. I don't know which one. I'll come up with one.
I love it.
All right. Well, sir, we can't thank you enough for coming on. Appreciate it. It was great. A lot of fun.
Yeah, great to talk to you guys, man. Great to talk to you guys. I love listening to you too. I lock in. I follow all this stuff. I love it. So, it's all good.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach. It was great.
All right, guys. I'll see you.
Everyone, thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Rutgers Rant, sponsored by the Heldridge Hotel. Head to nj.com/Rutgers for more Scarlet Knight content.